your life, your dreams, and your success. I've lived in this area for 46 years. I'm 46 years old. I've been following the road. My mom still lives down there. Grew up in the area. It's a fantastic area, great families, great friends. My wife and I, we live here with our 3 boys, Jonah, Caleb, and Samuel. Jonah graduated from Fruitport last year. Caleb's a sophomore, plays basketball. You may see him at the basketball games, plays soccer. Sammy's a 5th grader over at Beach. So we've been in the community for many, many years. We love the families here, like I said. I went to Baker College. I don't know if you ever heard of Baker College. It's up in Muskegon. I did most of my studying online. After 25 years after I graduated high school, I finally got my 4-year degree. So the math might not add up real well there, but it took me a long time to get my 4-year degree. So you can do it that way. It's the hard way, the long way to do it. But if you go to school if you go to college after high school, stick it out and try to get it done right away. Then you can go have some fun and enjoy life a little more. I worked in retail. Anybody heard of JCPenney? You ever heard of that store? Way back when I was 16 years old, I worked at JCPenney many, many years ago. Sold shoes and athletic apparel. It was the greatest job ever. It was fun. I got to interact with people, learn a lot about sales and people skills and talking. So that's kind of helped me get to where I'm at today doing this. Worked in manufacturing. I still work in manufacturing. We make the company I work for, we make car parts for BMW and Mercedes and Ford and GM. So all kinds of different car parts, and I help to market and sell car parts or businesses that make those for the big automakers. I help to partner them with our company, and also once we get a new job, I help bring it from the new job being awarded to actually going into production and going out to the vehicles on the line. Sales and personal development. Talked a little bit about sales. I've done real estate sales. I actually still have my real estate license. I do that a little bit on the side. Sales, personal development. Sales, again, like I said, real estate, I have a real estate license. I've done real estate. I've done used car sales actually for a little while back in the day. That's a tough gig, but the sales is important, is an important role in any business. If you don't have sales coming into a business, you're not going to be able to sustain the business or build the business or pay the employees that work for that business. I don't know if you all remember way back in 2008 and 9, we had a big crash and a lot of people got laid off and a lot of the sales and industry went away for a while. We're back up now, which is fantastic. You just got to be careful that you keep the sales coming in. You feed the pipeline, so to speak. There's a bunch of business out there and it's going to go somewhere and you want it to go to your company. So when we talk about sales, it is important to have sales for a business and a company. Even a school, you guys sometimes have fundraisers, right? Those are kind of like sales. You bring money into the school to help pay for different activities and different things that the school wants to do. Personal development, this is really my purpose and passion, and we'll talk about that, what your purpose and passion, that kind of falls into place here later in the presentation. But really, personal development, and that's about, you go to school and you learn some stuff, and you get out of school and you go, okay, I'm done learning forever. Well, if you have that kind of mindset, it's a little tough to be successful, and we're talking about your success here overall. Always be learning, always be looking for something new to explore and learn about. So that's kind of the personal development portion, and that's something that I also do, and that's kind of why I'm here today, is to help everybody maybe put some of those pieces of the puzzle together. So that's the last point there too. To increase your odds of success, studies have shown, I've done a lot of research myself, a lot of reading and understanding. There's some points here that will very, very strongly increase your odds of success. Finding your purpose, we'll talk about that. Developing good habits, we'll talk about that. Set and review goals, build a support team, and also continue developing yourself. That's going to be an underlining theme throughout this entire presentation. Continue developing yourself. It's got to be something you do consciously. It can't be just something you let go and, oh, once in a while I'll do something. Do it constantly and consistently. Let's talk about finding your purpose. A lot of times we go to, a little story. I graduated high school and I wanted to be a chemical engineer. And I was going to go to college to be a chemical engineer because that's what some of my buddies were doing, and that's where all the money was. Back in 1990, it's a long time ago, I know. Back in 1990, chemical engineering. So I'm off to the chemical engineering program. Got partway through it, started, this really isn't my thing. Changed gears, moved more into business and sales and marketing. So when you start down a road, sometimes your purpose is, you find it out as you go. You think you're going down a road and all of a sudden it doesn't feel right. You're just inside, you're missing something. That's your purpose. Well, a lot of times your purpose will solve a problem. So let's think about a problem out there. Maybe there's not enough after-school programs for kids to go to after school. Their mom and dad both work. They want to go to daycare, but they want to do some kind of activity. So a good purpose for somebody might be, hey, I love that kind of work. I want to develop an after-school program for kids to be able to come in, no matter what age they are. Kindergartners, high schoolers, whatever, and put something together for that. So that kind of solves a problem, helps people out. Right a wrong or injustice. What does that mean? A lot of times people get taken advantage of, and that's very unfortunate, and it makes me a little angry. But what happens is, this time of year especially, it's tax season. When you get older, you'll understand what income tax season means. But tax season, and a lot of times people file their tax returns, and there's scam artists out there that will pull a phone number up and they'll call and say, hey, Mr. Jones, we received your tax return and we have a lot of questions about it. Can you verify some information for us? And they start, can you confirm your address is, and they'll give an address. Because if you have a phone number, you can look up somebody's address on the Google any day, right? You can find that right out. We have your address listed as this. So they're starting to build that rapport with that person on the other end of the phone. Then all of a sudden they start asking, what's your social security number? Okay, just want to confirm that that's what we have on record. What's your birth date? They get their birth date. So they're getting all this information from people that have no business, they have no business giving that information out to those people because they're stealing it and doing identity theft. That's righting a wrong or injustice. You may start a business, or you may come up with an idea to help people get educated about that, or help, especially the elderly, are really taking advantage of this, in this area. To be able to help people and maybe hold a seminar and say, hey, come on in. We're going to teach you how to block these people out of your life so they're not getting into your savings and your bank account. So that's always a great purpose. A lot of us have insights and experiences. And you guys are probably what? How many of you guys are like 15, 16, 18 years old, somewhere in there? 18, 19, up there? Okay. You guys have all had experiences in life, right? I mean, everybody's gone through something. And there's people out there that can benefit from something you've gone through, and you can share. Overcoming obstacles and challenges. Some of you may have gone through a hard time in your life, and you went through that obstacle. Maybe you had somebody in your family that moved away, and you really miss them. It was a close family member. Oh, my aunt, she moved to Miami, and I really miss her. Well, how did you deal with that, and how did you get through that, and how did you work through that? Well, maybe your neighbor is going through the same thing, and you can share that experience with them. That's really cool stuff. Use your talent, skills, and abilities. Now, this is really neat. Every single one of us has talent, skills, and abilities. Mine are different than yours. Yours are different than your neighbors. That's just how we're made. Everybody has something in them that is a talent, a skill, or an ability. And you can use that to do something towards your purpose. And finally, I like to say this. I had to learn this the hard way. Chase your purpose, not your paycheck. Chase your purpose, not your paycheck. When I started out, remember I told you I was going into chemical engineering because that's where the money's at, blah, blah, blah. I started chasing my paycheck before I even knew what my purpose was. So I wasted a lot of years, a lot of energy, and a lot of money chasing that thing, not my purpose. So keep that in mind as you go through life and you start figuring out where you fit in and what works for you. Good habits. Another key to success, developing good habits. I have what's called a morning success routine. It actually starts the night before. So when I go to bed, I set out all my clothes for tomorrow, for the next day. So last night I had all this stuff set out on my dresser, nice and neat, ready to go. That saves me a lot of time in the morning because I'm already up, I'm moving around, I get my stuff, I got to iron my shirt, I don't have to wake my wife while I'm ironing my shirt because the ironing board's in the bedroom, making all this noise. So she gets to sleep in a little bit. So just for curiosity, does anybody lay out their clothes the night before or have their clothes laid out the night before?
I'm wearing the bed.
That's a shortcut. I'd be a wrinkled mess, but that's cool. But if you could just do that the night before, it'd save you a lot of time and a lot of maybe frustration in the morning because I can't find socks that match or something. It's crazy. Yep. So morning success routine. I get up in the morning, I do some exercise. First thing I do is I grab a glass of water because I've been sleeping for 6 to 8 hours and my body needs some hydration because we haven't been drinking a lot of water. You need to drink a lot of water. Get up, grab a glass of water, go downstairs, get on the treadmill for a half hour, exercise, do some positive mental stuff, where we'll talk about that in a little while, listening to some positive folks on YouTube or podcasts or whatever it may be. So that's the stuff that goes on early in the morning up here that sets you up for success throughout the day. Because a lot of times we wake up in the morning, and it's not as crystal clear as it used to be because I'm a little older now. I remember getting up for school and I'm like, oh, really? Oh. And it's just a drudgery to get up and go to school sometimes. I get it. It's tough to go to work sometimes. But if you get up and you get this morning success routine going, after a few weeks, it's going to be automatic. Give it 3-4 weeks. It's automatic. And then all of a sudden, that's not the hard part of the day anymore. That's getting up and getting going, and then you can deal with the other stuff that comes up throughout the day a lot easier. Time management. Right now, a lot of your time is managed by school or other activities, right? And you're told you got to be here, you got to do this, got to do this. Once that's gone, you're on your own and you got to manage your own time. There's still time now, though, that you have that you can use to your advantage to build your own success and work on your purpose. You're either going to schedule your time or it's going to schedule you. If you can learn that principle early in life, you'll save a lot of time and you'll be a lot more effective and a lot more successful. By time management, I mean you've got to take time out of your day for you. And mine's in the morning. And nobody else is up in my house early. I'm the early guy. So when I get up in the morning, that's my time for me to do my morning success routine. And if I want to do some special projects or work, I set that time aside in the morning. Because afternoon, everybody's up, we're doing stuff, we're running around, we're sports, and we've got dinner, and we've got stuff going on in the evening. So that's my time. What you can do is set aside just, even if it's 15 minutes, just to get your time together and sit down and think about, what do I want to do today? What do I really want to accomplish? And if you do that, consistency is another key point. You'll develop self-discipline. Self-discipline and consistency are two of the biggest keys to success. Self-discipline means this: doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done, no matter how you feel or what's going on around you. Because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, example, this morning I got up, I'm like, oh, I'm a little tired this morning. I got a big day ahead of me. I'm coming to this cool class to do a presentation. I got to hit a home run today. Man, I'm tired. I got to get up. And thankfully, I was smart enough at some point to put my shoes and socks for my exercise routine right next to the bed. So the first thing I see when I get up. So I get up and I'm out the door or out down the stairs and out and getting my drink and my water and going on the treadmill. But that's because of self-discipline. I've done that for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. It's an automatic. So even if I do get up and I'm a little bit on that, don't want to work out today, I do it anyway. And that's doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done, no matter how tired I am, no matter how grumpy I am, no matter how hungry I am. That's my stuff. And the external stuff is, well, somebody over here is giving me a hard time, so I really don't feel like doing that. You can't control them. You cannot control them. You can control up here. You control you, not what anybody else can do or say. Eliminate distractions. There's distractions everywhere. So I'll give you a little example. We call them next shiny objects. You're walking through life, you've got your purpose starting to figure out, and you're moving down the road, and these distractions will show up. You're going down the road, and all of a sudden this little thing over here, oh, that looks really cool. I think I'll go this way. So you start marching off that way. You're days and days and days and days down the road chasing this next shiny object, let's call it, down here. Meanwhile, your purpose trail's over here. What happens? You're way off track. You're way off track. And then all of a sudden one day you'll look up and you go, boy, this chemical engineering thing isn't really what I thought it was going to be. I got to backtrack to where I got off my path for my purpose and head back down that way. Or I got to cut through the woods to get back to my purpose. So it would have been better for me to stay on track with my purpose. I would have been farther ahead there than to go off this way and have to come back and go back over here or cut through the woods, right? I mean, staying on the path that's being made. So eliminate those distractions. It's tough because there's all kinds of stuff. Cell phones, TV, music. I mean, anything could be a distraction if you let it. I'm not saying you have to eliminate those things, but just know that they're there and limit your time. Limit your time. I catch myself on Facebook too much. And I'm like, oh, put that away. So it's just being conscious and knowing those distractions. Visualization's pretty easy. Just think about what you want your life to look like. You close your eyes in the morning, get 15 minutes, your 15 minutes of quiet time or half hour of quiet time. Just take 5 minutes of that and just go, my ideal life looks like this, and it feels like this, and it sounds like this, and if there's, if you're on a, if it's living on a beach somewhere, maybe you smell the ocean. I don't know, something like that. But just visualize in your mind what you want your life to look like, and then write it down. It's okay to write that down. You don't just share it with anybody, just write it down. Diet and exercise, talked a little bit about that. Exercise is very important. If you can do it in the morning, your body, I used to think, oh, if I exercise in the morning, won't I be more tired? Because I'm doing all this exercising in the morning. Total opposite. Total opposite. When you exercise in the morning, your body gets that rhythm going and it's pumped and it's going. And I actually have more energy. What's that?
It's ready to go.
Yep, it's ready to go. Absolutely. So you get rolling down the road, and next thing you know, you still have this peak energy in the afternoon, and it's awesome. Diet, eat healthy food. I mean, we all know fruits, vegetables, right? Drink lots of water. Water, your body is what, I think 2/3 of your body is water. You need a lot of water to be healthy. Relationships, another key. Family, friends, teachers, co-workers, people you meet. Relationships are very important. There's going to be two types of relationships you have. You're going to have relationships that help build you up, and you build that other person up. Or there's going to be relationships that kind of hold you down or are not real healthy for you. And you got to know up here, sometimes we've got to think about, this relationship might not be, and I'm not talking boyfriend, girlfriend, I'm talking friends and family and relatives, boyfriend, girlfriend too, I guess, but friends and relatives are usually there to support you and build you up. And those are the friends and relatives you want to hang out with. Finances. Develop good habits with your finances. If you can stay out of debt, you can have a lot more choices in life. People that are in debt, and there's a scripture that says, borrower is slave to the lender. And that is so true, because right now we owe money to a mortgage company. If I quit working, I can't pay that mortgage company. So basically, I'm a slave to that mortgage company to pay for our house. If you stay out of debt, it gives you a lot of choices as far as what you want to do. If, say you really love a career you're in, but it only pays a little bit of money. If you don't have debt and there's enough money in that career to put food on your table, gas in your car, clothes on your back, you're cool, you're good to go. We're going to talk about reviewing and setting and reviewing goals. You got to have a why for your goal. There's a why. What's that mean? Well, a why is, this is absolutely the reason I want to do this. It ties directly back into your purpose. What do you want to do? Why do you want to do it? Clearly defined expected outcome. Again, that goes back to visualization, thinking about what the end game looks like. There's a cool book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I've got a list of some of those in the back of this when we get done. And Stephen Covey talks about beginning with the end in mind. If we know where we want to go, let's say we're going on a trip. Let's go to Florida. Let's go to Panama City Beach, Florida. I have relatives there, so we go there. I know the way a little bit. So let's say we're going to go to Panama City Beach, Florida for a weekend or a week vacation or whatever. We know where we're going, right? So we know we got to go that way to get there. But what happens if we get sidetracked? What happens if we end up off just a little bit? We got to refocus and get redirected back on that path, kind of like when we were talking about we get the next shiny object thing. If we don't know clearly what our expected outcome is, or where we want to end up, we'll end up in the woods, or we'll end up in a ditch or somewhere. Time frame for your goals, they have to have a deadline. You can't just say, someday I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Actually, that's what I'm working on right now. Not someday, but I'm actually working on losing 20 pounds right now by June 1st. So I have a deadline. By June 1st, I need to be down 20 pounds from where I was a month and a half ago, and I'm already down 4 pounds. Woohoo! Celebrate that. Set some milestones. So as we go through our goals, just to get to the end isn't enough. There's little steps of the way. You're making little steps, little progress. Hey, celebrate that. For me, it's every once in a while I'll treat myself to something sweet. It's like, okay, I lost 5 pounds this last 2 weeks. I'm going to have just a little treat, a little special treat. So stuff like that. Just reward yourself for those little milestones that you make. You need to review your progress at least once a day. 3 times a day is better, but at least once a day. In that morning time when you're sitting there nice and quiet, review where you're at with your goals. Maybe you have 1 or 2 or 3 main goals you're working on. That's cool. Review where you're at and say, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to do for the next milestone? Where am I at in my walk with this goal? Share your goals. Share them with the right people, okay? Because sometimes you're going to share a goal with somebody and somebody's going, oh, you're an idiot, you're not going to do that, never. You know, people can be very negative. I mean, that's just life, right? People can be negative. Share your goals with the people that are going to encourage you. So I share my weight goal with my wife because she's like, hey, yeah, lose weight, go for it, you can do it, you know, and she's very encouraging, and friends and family that are, you know, the reason my why for losing weight, my doctor wants me to go on a blood pressure medicine if I don't lose the weight. I don't want to be on a blood pressure medicine, so that's my big why. And plus I feel a little more energetic and I fit my shirts a little better too. But that's my why, and so my wife's like, hey, no, yeah, you don't need to go on the medication, just lose the weight, you can do it. So she's encouraging me. It's part of getting help from the right people. When you're losing weight, it's easy because everybody's trying to lose weight, it seems like. So it's like, hey, you want to do a diet thing together? Okay, cool. So you're getting help from other people, or people that know how to lose weight or know how to get you on a right diet. You want to plug into those people and say, hey, what can you do to help me? And the last thing says visualize the goal completed. So again, begin with the end in mind. This is what it's going to look like when I lose all this weight and I go to the doctor and the doctor's like high-fiving me because I lost the weight and then doesn't have to put me on the blood pressure medicine. Oh yeah, that's awesome. So that's the visualize, just that end game. So that keeps you going too throughout the whole goal process. Your support team is important. We've talked a lot about relationships. We've talked a lot about building up, putting down, those kind of things. When you find your purpose, bless you. When you find your purpose, let's say it's in, okay, so public speaking. I like to do public speaking, and that's part of my purpose. So what I've done is I found some mentors and coaches out there that are already doing what I want to do or what I'm working on doing. They're very successful. They know the ups and the downs. They know the shortcuts now, so I don't have to spend the next 15 years figuring it out. So I plug into them and I listen to them. I don't know everything. They still don't know everything, and they've been doing it for 30 years. But they know 30 years more than I do, right? So it's worth my listening to them because they know. Sometimes we get a little, I don't need to listen to that. Listen to that, especially if it's somebody that's working in your field that you want to move into for your purpose. Partner with those that complement your strengths and weaknesses. I'm a very good outgoing person. I like to do presentations and stuff like this. I am horrible at accounting. I like numbers and math, but I'm horrible at accounting. You cannot set me in front of a computer for hours on end looking at numbers and crunching numbers. Just not my thing. So I look for people that are excited about that type of work and that can help me with that, because it's something that I struggle with, to be honest with you. That is something I do not look forward to. Tax time, I do my own taxes, but I absolutely hate it, and next year I'm not doing it. I've got somebody else that's going to help me with it. Let the professionals do their thing. Here's a cool story, very, very personal story. We built a house many, many years ago, and my dad was a builder. So I thought, my dad's a builder, just by, the fact of him being my dad, I can be a builder too. So we bought a lot, we cut down the trees, hauled the lumber out, got it all cleared out. I was going to have a guy come in and dig the hole for the basement and put the footings in and get it ready to go. Well, the guy wanted to charge $800 for this. And I thought, $800? Are you crazy? So I called up. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the excavator equipment. There's a big thing on tracks with a big arm that comes down and digs holes. It's called an excavator. So I called up the rental place. I said, hey, how much for an excavator for a day? $400. Sweet. I'm going to say $400. I'm going to dig this hole. We're going to be all done. We'll put the footings in and be good. So I'm digging a hole, digging a hole, digging a hole. Builder next to me comes over after I'm done digging and I put the excavator back on the trailer. He says, what are you doing? I said, I'm digging my basement out. He said, you ever heard of a thing called undisturbed soil? I said, no, what's that? So he enlightens me and says, undisturbed soil, when you dig a basement, did not know this, when you dig a basement for a house, you can't dig up the soil and then flatten it back out, because the house after time, it'll settle and it'll crack and be all kittywampus. I said, okay, well, so what does that mean? So if you looked in the bottom of my hole, it looks like the waves on the ocean where I'd been digging. I thought I did it right, not even close. So he measured one end of the hole that I dug, and he measured the other corner of the hole. So let's say it was from that corner to that corner. It was 1.5 feet deeper in the front than it was in the back. So could you imagine that? I mean, 1.5 feet. So he said we had to dig out all of this dirt to make it the same level as that. I said, how much is that going to cost? He says, well, normally I do it for $1,500, but I know you've been working, seeing you over here with your family, blah, blah, blah. $1,000, my wife and I will come over here and do this. You rent the Bobcat to come in and so we can use it. So this $400 that I thought I was going to save by doing it myself instead of having a professional do it cost me $1,000 plus the $400 so $1,400 plus the rental of the Bobcat, which I think was like $300. So the moral of that story is there are professionals out there that can dig your basement. You don't need to do it, okay? Unless you're an expert in that area or you're moving into the construction field and you're learning how to do that, let the experts do what they do. And that's not just in basement digging. That's in a lot of areas of life. People out there, mechanics, they do a great job doing what they do with cars. I mean, I've lifted up the hood on my car and I'm like, oof, forget it. Delegate to competent team members. That's as you get into work and you find things that your plate starts filling up, you're going to want to sometimes take some of that stuff and give it to other people to do. But they've got to know how to do that. They've got to know what that task is and how to do that task. Otherwise, you're giving it to them and you're going to end up doing it yourself. So that's something you can learn as you go too. Automate mundane and redundant tasks. If you're doing something over and over and over and over and over again, and it can be automated through an app or something on Excel or something like that, use the tools that we have today. And it's always, every time you turn around, there's a new app there's a new way to do something that can help us to be more efficient with our time so we don't get stuck in doing this stuff that's not effective or towards our purpose. So we talked a lot about different parts of being successful. Continuing to develop yourself as probably another one of the most important parts of this, if not the most important part. You've always got to be the best you can be. Don't compare yourself to anybody else because you have a specific set of skills and abilities and ways of learning. And to be the best that you can be is what you want to strive for. Can I be a little bit better me today than I was yesterday? Absolutely. How do I do that? Well, you listen to some good stuff. I don't read a lot, but I do read. But I really like books on audiobooks. Books on, they used to call it books on tape back in the day, but now they're MP3s or whatever they call them. I listen to those because that's easier for me while I'm working out. I plug them in and I'm just listening to the book on Audible. You download them and listen to all kinds of stuff. I listen to personal growth, personal development, motivation, all different kinds of personal finance books it's called Audible. It's the app I use. There's probably other apps out there that are just as good. In your area of interest, that's a key. Make sure it's fun to read for fun. Don't get me wrong, do that for entertainment and recreation. But if you're going to put a lot of time and effort into developing yourself, make sure you're spending that time wisely and using it in an area of your interest, okay? Again, remember the next shiny object thing over here? Try to stay away from that for a long period of time. You can dabble over here, read some stuff that's fun to read, but if you're going to really work on your purpose and being successful, find your area of interest and study that. Learn new skills. I had to learn new skills. I had to learn how to use this clicker. Just got this the other day. I'm like, it's kind of cool. Okay, well, how's that work? Oh, neat. I had to learn how to do that. I had to learn how to put PowerPoints together a few years ago. That's all stuff that you can do. You just learn the new skills. There's lots of ways to learn out there. If you can't find it on YouTube, I've learned how to rig Nerf guns up so that they shoot the little Nerf bullets farther. I've learned how to do that on YouTube. Actually, my kid did. He showed me. So, but that stuff, there's anything on YouTube, right, to learn? Mm-hmm. Okay, this is huge right here. Learn from your mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes, folks. It's okay. We're going to make mistakes. How many times have I messed up the presentation today, right? I made a few mistakes here and there. It's okay. It's all right. The key is you make that mistake, learn from it. Okay, so next time I do a presentation, maybe I'll do this a little different and then maybe we'll be a little smoother. That's okay. Or if you do, anybody play instruments or anything like that, or you play a game on your phone, you make mistakes on the game, right? And you learn next time you do it, it's a little better. Take time each day to meditate and visualize your ideal life. That's a big statement. I mean, visualize, meditate, all that crazy. I used to think of meditation as these guys sitting in white robes on a room on the floor, hamburger, hamburger, hamburger. That's not, okay, that is a meditation method. And forgive me if I'm mocking somebody that does that, but meditation is basically just shutting down your mind for a few minutes and not thinking about all the clutter. Best to do it in the morning. After you get up and you kind of get going in your day, sit down for a few minutes and get that meditation going and say, oh yeah, what's good about my life? There's always something you can be thankful for. If there's one thing in the morning when you get up, if you can just sit down and close your mind off for a minute and just say, what am I thankful for today? My mom, my dad, my friends, my family. The sun's out today, it's a beautiful day. I'm awake, I'm here. Some people don't wake up tomorrow. I mean, it's unfortunate. You know, that just happens, part of life. But there's got to be one thing in your life that you're thankful for. And if you start your day off being thankful for something, the rest of your day is a little easier. Spend time with the right folks. Again, we talked about that. They're going to build you up. They're going to try and maybe some people are going to try and maybe knock you off your horse there a little bit. Find the people that encourage you and say, hey, yeah, that's a great idea, let's do it. Or help you, if it's an idea that's kind of fuzzy, help you develop it and get it right with you and move forward. Keep up on trends in your field. So in the public speaking area, I've got to learn, how are people communicating now? Back in the day, we didn't have Facebook and YouTube and all that cool stuff we have now. We didn't, I don't know, we have had the Google maybe, but I call it the Google, whatever you guys call it. But keep up on the trends, because I've got to know what's the best way for me to reach out and connect with my audience and the people that I want to share this information with. Videos online or iPodcasts or whatever's out there. So just keep up on those trends. Work on building stronger relationships. Again, we've talked about that many times, right? How many times have we talked about relationships? Quite a few. Friends, family, friends and family. If everything else is taken away at the end of the day, and you're out there and you're in your world and you're in your 20s or your 30s, car gets taken away, house gets taken away, maybe your job disappears because for some reason the company goes out of business, those things can be taken away, right? Can't take away those relationships you have with your friends and your family, no matter what, no matter what. Give back to your community. Volunteer. I'm here today, I'm volunteering for Junior Achievement to help hopefully give you guys some pieces of the puzzle so that as you go through life, you guys are rocking it and doing what you want to do and living your purpose. A lot of people volunteer. I see people alongside the highway picking up the trash along the highway, especially this time of year now that the snow's gone. Companies sponsor that and they go out and they pick up stuff. Just try to see a way that you can give back a little bit, even if it's only a few minutes a week or something. I used to coach soccer all the time and do soccer trainings. Try to give back a little bit to the community for those things. And teach others, it's hard to see on the bottom here, it says teach others what you know. Again, you've gone through some things in your life. You've learned some things in your life. If you can teach somebody how to get through a difficult time, you're helping them. You should have people in your life that are at the same kind of level that you're at as your friends and your peers. You should have people that you're looking up to, maybe a teacher or a trainer or a coach or somebody. And then there's people that are down here waiting for you to help them. So that's where you can really reach out and help some folks. So a list of some resources. If you guys, and this should be on the last page there. These are some great books if you want to read or listen to. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Fantastic book about how to interact with people and how to one of the things I had to learn, and I still have a hard time doing this, but when I'm talking with somebody, I've got to stop my mind from thinking about what I want to say next and listen to them to truly get what they're saying. So we've got 2 ears, 2 eyes, 1 mouth. So we should look and listen twice as much as we talk. So that's tough for a guy like me, because I don't like to talk. But when you're interacting with somebody, they're trying to convey a message to you, and it's how do you connect with them, and how do you listen and get what they're saying, and then get your turn to talk. It's hard sometimes. It's hard to do that. The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. I talked about my morning success routine stuff that I do. Hal Elrod he's written a book called The Miracle Morning, and he has one for teens, he has one for college students, he has one for parents. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. So if you look him up, online and check out some of his books. They're really good about developing fantastic habits to get you going right in the morning. Again, mine starts the night before with clothes laying out. That's how mine works. But he is a fantastic author. He has a Facebook page too, so I'm sure you can get on there and check out his story. He's battling some diseases right now. He's been through a rough road, but he's got a super positive attitude and keeps moving forward. Millionaire Messenger by Brendan Burchard. That is one of my personal favorite books, and that's why I'm here today. That book right there has inspired me to take all this stuff that I've gone through and learned. So I'm kind of doing the, you know how I talk about helping people put the pieces of the puzzle together? That's what I'm doing today. And that book has really, really charged me up to do that. So I'm excited about that book, and he has some awesome programs and some awesome podcasts that you can listen to as well. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Robert has written more books about personal finance than I care to even imagine. It's all about being smart with the money you have. It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. You can make $1 million a year, but if you spend it all on junk and you're down to 30 cents left in your bank account at the end of the year, you're no different than the guy making $30,000 a year and has 30 cents left in his or her bank account at the end of the year. It's how do you manage your personal finances? And that goes back to, we talked about staying out of debt. Okay, if we can stay out of debt and not get into credit card debt, going out and getting crazy car loans. I mean, houses are hard to buy for cash right now. I mean, it's a lot of money to buy a house. But be smart. Be smart about your choices financially. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Talked about Stephen Covey a little bit ago. Begin with the end in mind. There's 7 habits that successful people use. And the one that my favorite is begin with the end in mind. Anytime I start a project, when I started this presentation, I got some input from Ms. Moleski. I got some input from the folks at JA. What do you guys want this to look like? I had to know what I was shooting for before I started putting all this together. So one of my favorite habits. So Stephen Covey, and then Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That's about personal success and finding a thought process in your mind that helps you to move forward and do the things that you want to do and you love to do. And some people down here, you can't really see, I'm sorry, it's so dark in that area, but Brendan Burchard, we talked about up above. Tony Robbins, I'm listening to a audiobook from Tony Robbins right now. It's called Unshakable, and it's about, again, personal finance, being smart with your money. How do you maximize everything you earn? You don't want to just have it disappear. I mean, there's so many things that go into play. It's a big topic. Les Brown has a fantastic story, a life story about where he was born in an abandoned apartment building, and he ended up becoming a fantastic speaker. Google him, listen to some of his stories. Steve Harvey, you guys know Steve Harvey, Family Feud? The guy that made the mistake on the Miss America or whatever it was at one time. So made a mistake, right? Okay, we lived through it. Steve Harvey has a fantastic, I never knew this until about 3 weeks ago. Steve Harvey has a fantastic story. Lived in his car for 3 years before he made it big as a comedian. I mean, my goodness, the guy's got a story about how he helps inner city kids. Check him out. Listen to what he's got to say. He's no different than where you guys are. I mean, you guys can do great things too. I mean, it's fantastic. Zig Ziglar is a motivational speaker. He's passed away now, but he has a great legacy of motivating people and getting you pumped up about stuff. Motivation's good. Don't get me wrong. I don't think motivation's a bad thing, 'cause you got to be motivated, right? But it kind of wears off. So you kind of need these other things to kind of keep you going, goal setting and purpose and finding all that out. So Zig's a good charge you up kind of guy. All these other guys will kind of keep you going in the right direction. Simon Sinek, he's a newer guy I've started listening to on YouTube. He talks a lot about different ways of thinking. Just talks a lot about millennials, especially, and how they operate, how they think, and what we need to do to make sure in the workplace that millennials are being utilized in getting the most out of their work and their purpose. So that's kind of a cool take on things. So this ties into a little bit about the program that I'm working on. It's called Flip the Switch to Living Your Dreams. So the F in FLIP stands for Find Your Purpose Quickly. So we don't want to waste a lot of time going down the wrong road. So the sooner we find out what our purpose is and what we're here for, what really gets us excited, the sooner we do that, the better. Live your life passionately. And I'm not talking just, ah, I'm talking just be excited about life and charged up and hey man, another day, let's rock it, okay? That's what that means. Live your life passionately. There's gonna be days where it's gonna be tough. I'm not kidding about it. There's ups and there's downs in life. But if you can live passionately, those downs are a lot shorter than the ups. Impact your community positively. We've talked about giving back to the community, helping out folks. Again, sharing your story with people. If you've got something you've gone through and somebody else is going through it, help them out. And then preserve your legacy eternally. So your legacy, what do you want people to say? Again, begin with the end in mind. When you're long gone, 150 years from now, maybe we'll live that long, but 150 years from now, and somebody says, hey, that guy in my class back in 2018, man, he really had a great impact on me. He helped me through this challenge. She helped me through this struggle I was going through. Those are legacy items. They may not be, like a Martin Luther King or a George Washington or anything huge to the entire nation, but that one person's been affected by that, and that's cool. That's cool stuff. The cool thing about where you guys are at, you don't have 30 years of work stuff that's been going on. You're on a clean slate. You're starting off on an opportune time to find your purpose quickly and just start moving in it and find people to help you along the way. It's hard when you get down the road and you have a family and you have work obligations and bills to make a change. It is hard. It can be done. Nothing is impossible. It can be done. It's just harder to do it when you have all this other stuff going on. Like finishing school 25 years or college 25 years after high school, that was tough to do. Would have been easier to do it right out of high school. The book that inspired me, this one right here, The Millionaire Messenger by Brendan Burchard. Basically that everybody has a story. Everybody has some experiences and stories that they can share and information that they can share with other people to help them with their lives. There's pieces, your life is like a big puzzle. You ever do a jigsaw puzzle? And you take those pieces out of the box and you throw them on the table. What's the first thing you usually do with a jigsaw puzzle? What part of the puzzle do you usually do? The corner pieces in the outside? Yep. Then you start putting the rest of the pieces of the puzzle together. Well, you've already got the corner pieces in the outside figured out. It's just all this stuff in the middle. How do you put those together? And that's one of the things that book helped me to start to do. So there's a saying that says you'll be where you are 5 years from now based on the books you read and the people you hang out with.
That's true.
That is a true statement. So these books I've read years and years. Some of them I read years and years ago, but some of them I read recently. Those books will help shape you and your destiny, basically. 1993 is the first time I saw Zig Ziglar on stage, and I said, I want to do what that guy does. So it's been 25 years. 25 years to get to this point where I'm actually starting to do. And it's not because I've worked hard at it for 25 years, it's because I picked it up, I got off on the next shiny object, and then I come back to it. And I work it a little bit. And Dennis can attest to it. How long have we been working on this, Dennis? Many years. So, Dennis is a good friend of mine, sorry. But we've been working on this, I've been working on this project since, oh my goodness, 2008 or 9 maybe. I've been really working on putting some stuff together, but it's been on and off, on and off. So, the great question. Again, that goes back to staying focused on your purpose. Don't get off in the little ditch over here or the bushes over here trying to make a new path that has nothing to do with your purpose. There's some good books specific to organization. The question was, will reading these type of books help you be more organized or help you maybe be more successful in the real world? Absolutely. Dealing with people. You're going to deal with people no matter where you're at. You got to know how to deal with people and understand how that works. So. The question is, how do you deal with people that are frustrating you or maybe getting on your nerves a little bit while you're trying to work with them? A lot of times it's an emotional thing, and they come at you and they're messing with you. You got to get in your mind, okay, they're not attacking me, they're attacking something else that's bugging them. Try not to take it personally. It's hard because it's an emotional thing and we're emotional creatures. And then I try to think, okay, maybe they're going through something. I have no idea what they're going through. Maybe they had a really bad morning. Something happened at home that we have no idea about. There's stuff that goes on that we have no clue. I don't have any idea what kind of morning all you had. I hope you had great mornings, but maybe we had a rough morning, and then we take that out on each other sometimes, and it's hard just just to accept it and say, okay, we've got this. And it's basically just trying to be empathetic, where you try to understand where they're at, and let them vent, and then kind of calm them down if you can, or just don't attack back. So, cool. Okay, that's about all the time we have today. I really want to say thank you for having me here today. It's been a privilege, and I hope you've learned at least one little nugget of information that you can put into your piece of the puzzle and get moving on the things you want to do in your life and your purpose. So thank you very much.